Are you attracted to younger girls?
No, actually, I'm not. My first girlfriend was 2 years older than me. I've dated females in their 50s.
But your victims are your two stepsisters. How old were they?
I think 9 and 13.
Yeah. And now your current victim was 11. So haven't you tried to figure out why it is that these are the ages that you're offending against?
How would you feel if your youngest daughter was subjected to this type of activity with a relative?
I feel really upset.
And you heard correctly. This isn't the first time he's been caught. He's already done prison time for doing this to little ones. But yet the Department of Corrections, the judge, the ADA, they just give him another little slap on the wrist sentence. You can't make it up. It is as if they simply do not care about our children. This would have been easy to lock him away for a long time, but no. Instead, they give a little slap on the wrist sentence. He was only sentenced November 15th of 2023. It's these kind of cases that just make me, I just can't. I just don't understand it. But here we are. We're about to watch a parole hearing of a man who was sentenced to 20 years in prison, but listen to this, they'll suspend all of it. He only has to serve 5, but parole eligibility after serving just 2. These are the people put in charge. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you did not mishear what they just said. This is a man who has a long record of doing the unimaginable. Yet when he is caught again, what does the judge do? The judge says 20-year sentence, just so the whole, the press can talk about it. People can feel good about the system. But hopefully no one's listening. It's going to be suspended after 15 years. So you only have to serve 5. Not only that, but you'll get parole eligibility after serving just 2. Because really, who cares about our children?
Michael Goos, 285-161.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Michael Goos, inmate number 285-161. He is serving a sentence of 20 years, executes suspended after 5 years with 20 years probation for illegal sexual contact. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of June 7th, 2024. There's no victim input in this case. There's no offender accountability plan for the offender. It has not been reviewed, and the offender has not completed any programs. Utilizing statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the moderate to high range. This is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole.
I've been in jail for 3 years now. I haven't completed no programs, but I am on the waiting list for the sex offender counseling or whatever it's called. I'm sorry I apologize for my actions, for what I've done. I just feel bad, I've been there for 3 years. I know I have had plenty of time to complete programs, but I'm on the waiting list. Like I said, I had to wait to get to a jail where they had them. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Gallegos. So we've read about your background, what you've done since you've been in. Based upon that, we have some questions. Then we're going to talk about your case and give you a decision, okay?
Okay.
We're going to start the questions today with board member Zappos Sassi.
Good afternoon. So in your opening statement, I heard that you made an apology. Was that directed to the victim?
To the victim and to just everyone, I made a mistake.
Okay. Well, I think we should start there. I mean, this, from what we've read, Mr. Gallegos, was not your first offense against related minors.
Yes.
So can you talk to me about what's happening here and what led you to reoffend years later?
I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't know what led me to reoffend. I guess it was, I wasn't doing no therapy or no counseling or nothing like that to understand why I did what I did.
So you admit what you've done.
Yes.
Okay. What about your failure to register? Were you in denial
have-
over this?
No, I have registered. It was like every so often the letters would come at the same time. Like I would get the failure to register. I get the paperwork at the same time that to register.
Okay. In your previous offenses with, I believe they were your much younger stepsisters.
Yes.
How old were you at that time?
17.
Okay. And what programming did you do following your conviction on those charges?
I was in a program called Young Adult Services. They had therapy there, group counseling, stuff like that.
And did you get anything out of that program?
I was getting a lot out of it, and then I was supposed to have an overnight with my mom and my daughter, an overnight stay, and they denied it, so I ended up leaving the program.
Okay. How old is your daughter?
She's 24 now.
Okay. Can you go over your relationship status? Because we saw at one point you said 3 children, but there's actually many more than that.
Yeah, I have 8. The guy asked me if I had 3 girls. I said, yeah, but I had 8. I have 8 kids.
And the other 5 are boys?
Yes.
Okay. How old are your daughters?
24 years old, 16 years old, and 9 years old, I believe.
Do you have a relationship with any of your daughters?
Yeah, my oldest and my 16-year-old, yeah.
Okay. What about your boys?
I have one boy that I get in touch with. I believe he just turned 16, but the other ones they live in like Texas and Vernon and stuff. The moms don't want me to have nothing to do with them.
Does your oldest daughter understand why you're in jail?
Yes.
And what kind of conversation did you have with her over this?
Nothing. She kind of brushes it off.
Okay. Do you brush it off, Mr. Gallegos?
No, I don't. I accept what I've done.
Okay. How would you feel if your youngest daughter was subjected to this type of activity with a relative?
I feel really upset. I don't know how I would react.
The lack of programming while in the facility is a concern to me. You don't have any discipline reports, which is typically something that would prevent access to a program. You say that you're on the wait list. What are you on the wait list for? Do you know?
Sex treatment.
Yep. Is that it?
Yeah.
Have you ever taken the Voices program, which talks about impact on victims?
No, I haven't.
Have you talked to anyone about any mental health concerns?
No, I have a mental health worker. I speak to her once, like every week and a half. We talk.
Do you advocate for her, to her, about potential programming opportunities for you?
No, it's more she just calls to see how my medication's working, how I'm feeling, how I'm sleeping, stuff like that.
It does say that you are compliant with your medications. Was that an issue for you when you were out in the community, keeping your medication straight?
Yes,
Do you have a plan as to how to handle your mental health and your medication issues upon
Yeah,
your
my-
eventual release?
yeah, I was, gonna sign up for mental health treatment. My medication, my mom, I know she'll make sure I take it. Stuff like that, like, I really want the mental health treatment when I get out though.
And that's good that your mother is going to be involved, but at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to take your medication.
Yes,
We do have a file on your diagnoses, which we're not going to talk about on the record, so we do have that. Do you feel that your mental health and anything else has contributed to you offending? Or talk to me about what triggered this in both situations, years ago as well as this most recent offense. Are there any similarities of pattern?
no similarities. I honestly, I don't know why I did what I did. That's the whole point of me trying to get mental health help, to try to figure it out. I've had no, no idea why I did it. I have been trying to figure it out, but I can't figure it out.
You've been on supervision in the community twice before, and both times you were not successful. What do you attribute that to?
That was the program that I was in, the Young Adult Services. That was that program. One time I was there, I was doing good, and then they hit me up with the second victim. Then I got violated probation for that. Then I went back to the program, and they denied me my overnight visit with my mom and my daughter, so I just left the program.
Okay. In terms of your employment history, what have you done there, and what does the future look like for you in terms of stable employment?
I usually work dishwasher in the kitchen, or do landscaping.
Have you looked at any opportunities for work?
My old boss, landscaping boss, is willing to hire me back. Or I can just apply at Panera Bread. They'll be willing to have me back.
In terms of your victims, have you spent any time reflecting upon how they might feel today and the impact of what happened to them at a young age?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they still think about it every day, and I feel bad for that because they shouldn't have to go through that.
In terms of your family tree, are they still part of it? Is there any opportunity in terms of your communication with family members that you might see any of these victims?
No, I don't. I can't see them. I can't be around them, and that's been made very clear. So I try to stay away from them.
It's got to be a little bit stronger than try. It's a absolute.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I guess my question is, to the best of your knowledge, are they in any type of family circles where this is going to be difficult for you to stay
Oh, no.
away? Are they no longer part of that immediate circle?
No, they're no part of that immediate circle.
Okay, I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Board Member Chance, any questions?
Mr. Gallegos, You said that your social support is your mother, your oldest daughter, and the whole family. Who are the other family members that you were referring to?
I got my stepmom, my stepbrother, I got my older sister, my younger brother.
And so they are okay with what you did. None of them are related to any of your previous victims or your current victim.
My stepmother is related to the first two victims.
But she still supports you.
Yes.
So you have no idea why you want to sexually offend against younger girls. You have no idea why.
I don't know why it was what it was. That's why I'm trying to undergo the mental health treatment and the therapy to try to figure it out.
Are you attracted to younger girls?
No, actually, I'm not. My first girlfriend was 2 years older than me. I've dated females in their 50s.
But your victims are your two stepsisters. How old were they?
I think 9 and 13.
Yeah. And now your current victim was 11. So haven't you tried to figure out why it is that these are the ages that you're offending against? I mean, that would be very important for you as you go through the treatment, wouldn't it?
Yes.
You also wants to go to your mother's home. And I believe that the victim's father lives on the second floor. Is it a 3-family home?
It's 3 apartments, yes.
Right. And so the victim's father lives on the second floor.
Yes.
And so that's the building that you want to return to.
Yes, he has no issues against me or nothing like that. He has no problem with me.
And you know this how?
My mom.
Okay, Mr. Gallagher, I wish you the best of luck and thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Board members Abacus.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I think that it's clear that there's some work that needs to be done, and the programming is an important piece of this. So while it's unfortunate that he has not been able to access it, I believe that due to the fact that he doesn't have any disciplinary infractions, that they should be able to avail himself of those programs soon. And I would like to see that happen. So at this point, my recommendation today is a denial based on inadequate institutional program participation, nature and circumstances, and obviously open to anything else.
And it would be no evidence of offended change.
Okay.
And also from me, criminal history, because it's not the
Yes.
first time that this has happened.
Yes,
Is that where we are?
yes.
Okay, regarding Michael Gallegos to 85161, move to deny parole based upon nature and circumstance of the current offense. criminal history, inadequate evidence of offender change, and inadequate institutional program participation. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor should signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Gallegos, we weren't able to give you parole, and we do wish you well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The hearing for Michael Goos, claiming number 285-161.
You know, it's absolutely insane that this cockroach, this soulless monster, is even allowed to be given such a short sentence. And again, this comes down to the judges and the DAs. I can't help but calling them psychopaths. Remember that he is busted with two victims, it turns out, his stepsisters, right? Do you know how much time he got for that when he was busted for that? Guess. Nothing. He got a suspended sentence. You can't make it up. And then while he's out hanging out on a suspended sentence, he gets this one, an 11-year-old. And what do they do? A 20-year sentence, suspended after 15, parole eligibility after 2, and here we are. You think any amount of programs is going to make a difference? You think we're all stupid? You know what's interesting? Yeah, I'll tell you what's interesting. Remember the case we covered with the repeat child offender who the Connecticut Parole Board was trying to protect from deportation? Well, that's made the news. There's a state rep. Let me share my screen with you. There's a state rep that just started tweeting about it. Here it is. People are realizing, wow, this stuff is actually happening. Appalling. The Connecticut Parole Board of Pardons releases an illegal immigrant convicted pedophile while counseling him on how to avoid deportation. And you know, they have this big post here, and we covered it. We covered this case. The Daily Wire, an investigative reporter, picked it up and they published an article there. If you haven't seen this, I'm not surprised. You know, the YouTube algorithm, they like to hide these kinds of things. But I wrote back on that post. I responded, like, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Remember, the parole board, they're the last line of the defense. What you need to be focusing on, Mr. Rep, and all the other politicians in Connecticut, are the judges and DAs that do not protect our children, that even allow them to have these little sentences. Why in the world would this guy have gotten a suspend? Let me read to you what Holly dropped in the notes. 2017. Okay, so he has the original, if it's confusing the way that these dates are dropped in, not Holly's part, just the way they do it, because he has so many revocations, they list, like, there's like redundancies. But he has original arrest date 12/7/2021, illegal sexual contact with a victim. Remember, this would have been 2 victims. Now, let me see, that was, no, that's sorry, I know it's so confusing. That's the 11-year-old. So he has 2018. Failure to register. He has 2017, the sentencing date. Here it is. I can't with the way this is. It's just. But anyways, it's sentence 1 year jail, executed, suspended, conditional discharge 1 year. This is where it was in 2017, where he was sentenced for what he did to 2 of his stepsisters. Right. Then it appears that he has. I think he has failure to register twice. And then while he gets the failure to register twice, nothing much happens to him. He has an arrest date on November 15, 2023 for what he did to the 11-year-old. Then he comes up for his parole hearing 2/14/2025. He's getting out no matter what. 12/7/2026. He's being released, supposedly, to the father of one of the victims, who's probably still a minor, who claiming, he doesn't care. What did he say? Also, he has 8 children? He tried to manipulate his way in there, but at least we know one of the daughters don't talk to him. I mean, it's just sick. How can a judge and a DA not see this and say, "Oh my God, this is if what he's saying true about all the support he has in his family, which is very possible. We see it all the time. We know that he is being put back in a dangerous place where he will reoffend again, in my opinion. But they don't care. They just don't. And they have every which way to lock him up forever, but they don't care. And with that, I'll let you go.
I am the victim of this crime that was committed between the span of 2017 and 2019. During those years which the crime was committed, Mr. Torres stripped me and stole my innocence and proceeded to do so numerous times while I was still a child. Mr. Torres used and abused the fact that he was my godfather and by proxy my family member to his advantage to do what he did to me in private without anyone wondering what was going on or being suspicious. During the time where this crime was brought to light, Mr. Torres didn't try to get help or even try to admit to the crimes or pain he had caused. He instead tried to avoid arrest and even tried to pretend not to be able to speak English just so that he could get away and avoid the consequences for his actions.
And you heard correctly. And this monster, he shows up to his parole hearing playing more games. He still claims not to understand English. He insists on having an interpreter present. But that's not all. You see, if it's just, we know that monsters exist, but what I think is worse, I think it's worse when it's the DA, when it's the judge, when it's the system put in place to protect us, when they make a mockery of justice. You see, the judge and the DA, they agreed to a 10-year deal, but that's just to placate us. That's to make announcements to the press that they are protecting the most vulnerable in our society. You see, he only has to serve 3 of those 10 years and parole eligibility after serving just half of it, if you can believe that. But that's not all, folks. You see, the state of Connecticut, they also deem him to be an extremely low risk to reoffend. And not only that, but he only has to go on the registry for 10 years. So this is how the state of Connecticut is protecting our most vulnerable. 3-year sentence with parole eligibility after serving 50%, only has to be on the registry for 10 years. And don't worry, he's a low risk. You can't make it up. Now we are going to hear from the survivors, parents, and we are going to unpack it with the details at the end.
You got somebody to speak funny?
What did he say? What?
You got somebody to speak funny or not?
Speak Spanish.
You asking for an interpreter?
Are you asking for an interpreter? Did you need an interpreter, sir?
I don't know, the lady called me twice, I told her I need interpret.
You didn't
I
tell
know.
me. Sorry, I just met with you. You didn't tell me you needed an interpreter.
Oh, I'm sorry, I understand now everything anyway.
Let me see if one's available, okay? Hold on, hang tight, okay?
I no problem.
All right. Please state your name and inmate number for the record.
Favor decir su nombre y número de confinado para el registro.
Mario Torres.
Su número de confinado.
El número,
Su número de confinado para el registro.
Mario Torres.
Your inmate number, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, the main number. It's 00343.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Mario Torres, number 300343. He is serving a sentence of 10 years, execution suspended after 3 years, and 10 years probation for illegal sexual contact. There is victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for this offender. It has been reviewed and shows that the offender has completed Tier 2. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall risk falls within the moderate range of risk for recidivism.
utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the low range. And I just realized I did forget, as of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of 3/1/25. Mr. Torres, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
Mr. Torres, esta es su oportunidad para expresarle a la Junta porque piensa se le debe conceder libertad condicional. Puede comenzar.
Sí, pienso sobre la libertad condicional porque necesito estar fuera por mi condición mental de salud y por eso me siento muy atado aquí dentro y la libertad condicional me hace sentir mejor de mi condición de salud.
I feel that I deserve parole because of my mental health condition. I feel locked in here, and I believe that if I was to be released, it will be better for my mental health.
Is that your statement, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is ask you some questions. And then when we're done with our questions, we'll turn the hearing over to the victim's advocate for input from the victim. And you can listen, but please don't interrupt. Then we'll deliberate and give you our decision. Okay?
Nosotros le vamos a hacer una serie de preguntas en el día de hoy. Luego de esto vamos a pasar con la Oficina de Servicios a la Víctima, donde usted puede escuchar, pero no puede interrumpir. Luego de esto deliberaremos en relación a su caso.
Ms. Sappo, we'll start with the question.
Good morning. Mr. Torres, in one of your statements, you said that it didn't happen, but I pled to get it over with. And she apologized afterward. Can you explain that statement to me?
Mr. Torres, en un comentario que usted hizo, usted mencionó que esto nunca sucedió, pero que usted se declaró culpable para salir de esta situación y que la víctima se disculpó con usted. ¿Usted me puede explicar estos comentarios?
No, el comentario de que se disculpó, a lo mejor también fue un error mío, pero sí lo que pasó yo no lo cometí, solamente por salir de los cargos y eso, y tener unos cargos más bajitos, una sentencia más bajita.
It was a mistake for me to say that, but what they said that I did, I never committed this offense. But then I said this so I can plead guilty and get a lesser sanction.
So what are you acknowledging that you did do?
¿Qué es lo que usted está reconociendo que usted hizo?
Pero la cuestión de sexual de la vagina o algo, yo no llegué a penetrar la vagina, sino otras cosas sí, pero eso no.
I never had sexual intercourse with her through the vagina. That never happened. I didn't do that.
So I'm going to repeat my question. What did he do?
Voy a repetir mi pregunta entonces. ¿Qué entonces fue lo que usted hizo?
Pues la tocaba y le hice lo de la cuestión del, ¿cómo se llama eso? Besarla y eso, pero that's it.
I was touching her and I kissed her, but that was it.
No questions.
Thank you. So, Mr. Torres, then why would she say that you did these things to her?
Mr. Torres, ¿por qué entonces ella diría que usted le hizo estas cosas?
Bueno, diría eso porque ella ella se iba a quedar en un viaje, iba con un viaje con sus papás para Florida. Pues ellos no querían llevársela y decidieron dejarla con nosotros. Pero ella tenía un noviecito, un noviecito así, en casa de los padrastros de la mamá de ella, la padrastro. Entonces tenía que sacar algo, como quien dice, para no ir para Florida, porque si no se lo iban a llevar.
Mr. Torres, ¿puede decirme eso nuevamente? Que si que ella tenía un novio y qué.
Ella tenía un novio ahí en casa de los papás de los padrastros de ella, pero que ellos no sabían nada, y entonces ellos la iban a dejar con nosotros, pero para que la dejaran allá en casa de los padrastros, ella diría eso.
Because she was going to travel to Florida and she had a boyfriend at the step parents' house, and probably she said this because she didn't want to travel to Florida.
Your victim was 10 years old.
I don't know si cuando yo la dejé de ver tenía como 12 años.
When I stopped seeing her, she was about 12 years old.
So, in her? So, Mr. Torres, I'm really having a very difficult time understanding why this 10-year-old victim who, I mean, I know lots of 10-year-olds and none of them know anything about dildos and how it looks like an adult penis. And I don't know what her going to Florida has to do with her saying that you did this kind of stuff, you tried to insert and all that stuff into her. Why would, what does the two have to do with each other?
Because ella no quería quedarse con nosotros para poder quedarse con ellos allá, porque el noviecito estaba allá y no le iban a dejar.
She didn't want it to stay with us. She wanted to stay with the step parents where the boyfriend was at.
A 10-year-old wanted to stay with the boyfriend. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's serious.
Why did you touch her inappropriately? Did you know you're not supposed to touch a child?
I know it.
So why did you do it?
I know, very, I don't know.
Why didn't you say anything about the victim in your opening statement?
What?
Porque usted nunca dijo nada acerca de la víctima, nunca habló acerca de la víctima en sus comentarios de apertura.
No estaba preparado, no sé.
I was not prepared. I do not know.
So do you think that you're the victim in all of this, Mr. Torres?
I don't know. I got myself guilty. I don't know what I can do.
What?
Yo hice me declaré culpable y no sé. Sí, yo hice lo que hice, pero I don't.
I pled guilty. I don't know. I did what I did.
So when the officer asked you why you thought you deserved parole, you said because of your mental illness, and that that you felt like you were locked up in there or something, closed in. Yeah, sorry. Right? That's the reasons why you think you deserve parole.
Cuando usted le comentaron acerca de porque usted merece libertad condicional, usted mencionó por su salud mental y porque se siente que está aprisionado ahí y que va a estar mejor afuera.
Yeah,
¿Esto es correcto?
por eso digo que eso es lo que siento, porque estoy prisionero y cuestión mental me tiene así.
I feel like I am a prisoner and because of my mental health situation.
Well, you are a prisoner, sir. You committed a crime, and that's what happens when you commit crimes, you go to prison. So that's where you're supposed to be.
Usted es un prisionero, señor, usted cometió un crimen y eso es lo que sucede cuando usted comete un crimen.
And
Entiendo eso.
do you think that you need to complete the sex offender treatment?
¿Usted entiende que usted debe completar el tratamiento de ofensor sexual?
No creo.
I don't think so.
Ms. Turner?
Mr. Torres, how do you know the victim's family?
Mr. Torres, ¿cómo usted conoce a la familia de la víctima?
Es familia de mi ex esposa.
They are family members of my ex-wife.
You have 3 adult children and you have no contact with them. Did you have contact with them before you committed this crime?
Usted tiene 3 hijos adultos. Usted ahora mismo no tiene contacto con ellos. ¿Tenía usted contacto con ellos anteriormente, antes de este crimen?
Sí.
Yes.
You have a standing criminal protective order against you till the year 2075. Do you understand you are to have no contact in any form with the victim of this crime?
No, los hijos míos eran.
Usted tiene una orden de protección activa, la cual va a estar vigente hasta el año 2075. ¿Usted entiende que usted no puede tener ningún tipo de contacto con esta víctima?
Pensé que me estaba diciendo que tengo hijos, pero los hijos míos son viejos, ya son de 30 y pico años.
I thought that he was talking about my kids, but they are older. They are 30-something years old.
Yes, they're adults. Do you have grandchildren?
¿Usted tiene nietos?
Yeah, but I never see my grandkids in this period of time. Yo no vino a ver a los nietos míos en este tiempo.
I have never seen my grandchildren throughout all this time.
That's a good thing. Yeah. You didn't answer my question about the standing criminal protective order.
Usted no contestó mi pregunta acerca de la orden de protección activa.
Sí, yo tengo una protección activa.
Yes, I have a standing protective order.
Y la estoy llevando como tiene que ser.
And I am following the protective order as I am supposed to.
And you have 10 years ahead of you on the state's sex offender registry.
Yeah,
Tiene 10 años para estar registrado en el registro de ofensor sexual.
Entiendo.
I understand.
No more questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So at this time, we're going to turn the hearing over to the Office of Victim Services. To my understanding that, Ms. Vasquez is on today. Good morning, Ms. Vasquez.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members. Go ahead.
Hold on, Ms. Vasquez, give me 1 second, please. So, Mr. Torres, our question answer period is over now, and now we're going to hear from the victim. Please don't interrupt. You don't have to respond because we're not speaking to you. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Vasquez, sorry.
It's okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Madam Chair and board members. My coworker, victim advocate, Mr. Jesus, was able to speak with the victim. I am assistant today with this case, and I have her and 2 others who are on speakerphone, and they wish to address the board members.
Okay.
To the victim, this is your opportunity to unmute, and you may be able to begin addressing the board members.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I do have a couple of things to say to the parole board about how it has affected me. I am the victim of this crime that was committed between the span of 2017 and 2019. Mario Torres is up for parole, and I'm here today to explain why I oppose his position for parole. During those years which the crime was committed, Mr. Torres stripped me and stole my innocence and proceeded to do so numerous times while I was still a child. The trauma that was created because of said events still hurts and haunts me till this day and will have impacted me for the rest of my life. Mr. Torres used and abused the fact that he was my godfather and by proxy my family member to his advantage to do what he did to me in private without anyone wondering what was going on or being suspicious. While I had a connection to him, it was only as a child viewed their role model or parental figure, nothing more and nothing less. I feel as though he had no remorse behind his actions. He didn't care if I was his goddaughter. He viewed me as a piece of prepubescent meat to use and exploit to his own satisfaction. My main fear is that he could possibly reoffend and hurt another child or even another member of his family. I wish I could say that the pain I felt ended every time he was done with me, but I have suffered emotionally and physically for the past several years. I have difficulty maintaining proper relationships with other people, including my family. I can't hold a healthy image of myself, and I honestly can't trust people at all. Though I am sure that Mr. Torres is claiming to be a changed man, I have serious doubts that he has or ever will. I will say this because during the time where this crime was brought to light, Mr. Torres didn't try to get help or even try to admit to the crimes or pain he had caused. He instead tried to avoid arrest and even tried to pretend not to be able to speak English just so that he could get away and avoid the consequences for his actions. If Mr. Torres is granted parole, then the issue I already have with sleeping and the nightmares I have from that will get far worse knowing that he is free and able to reoffend or even come after me for putting him in jail. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Take your time.
That's all I had left to say.
Okay. And those that were with you, do they wish to address the board members as well still?
Yes, my mother.
Okay. She can begin anytime that she's ready.
Good morning, board members. It baffles me that after hearing his story now and hearing his statement, he's still continuing to lie. Not once did my daughter call him to apologize. The amount of evidence that the detective found, and for him to say that he didn't do it, clearly this man has issues. He has no remorse. No remorse at all whatsoever. The pain that he still causes our daughter. And you're telling me that you want to go out because you want to feel better for your health after what you did to my child? The only thing I have to say, and I'm leaving with, is I sure hope that the parole is then granted. I really, really do. You don't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And do we still have the other person who wished to address the board members as well?
Yes, we do. My father.
Okay. Thank you. He may begin whenever he's ready. Thank you.
Good morning, board members. I don't think he should be granted parole at all. If it was up to me, I'd say he's lucky we're not in the state where they have death penalty, because this is not, it's not fun. It's not a funny feeling. I don't care what he says. karma always gets back. That's what I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is all that I have for this particular case.
Thank you. So at this time, Mr. Torres, we're going to deliberate and we'll render our decision shortly. Please don't interrupt again. Thank you. Ms. Sacco?
Yes, I think that based on the statements from Mr. Torres, as well as hearing from the victim and her family, that I am proposing not granting parole today for the reasons of inadequate institutional program participation due to the lack of the short-term sexual offender program, the injury and impact to the victim, nature and circumstances of the current offense.
Thank you. I agree with the denial. I believe that Mr. Torres is minimizing his role, thus re-victimizing the victim. And I believe that the sex offender treatment would help him gain a better understanding of this crime and its impact on the victims. And also, we took a tier program, but a voices program would have also been good for him. Ms. Turner?
I'm in agreement.
Thank you. So with regard to Mario Torres, 300343, I move to deny discretionary parole with no new hearing date based on the nature and circumstance of the offense, the injury and impact to the victim and or the victim's family, and inadequate program participation. You will not receive a new hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Do you understand, Mr. Torres?
No.
Your parole was denied. You won't have a new hearing date, so you'll finish your sentence there, okay?
La condicional fue denegada, usted no va a tener una nueva fecha. Tiene que completar su tiempo donde está.
This concludes the hearing for Mario Torres, number 300343.
Concluye la audiencia de Mario Torres, número 300343.
You're all set, sir. Will you ask the officer to send in the next person? Thank you.
Sería todo, señor. Si puede pedir al oficial que envíe a la próxima persona.
Can you even imagine sitting there with the facial expressions and the it's just so it's so disgusting. And you know, they touched on some really strong points. None of his 3 children are in contact with him. He is, you know, you can only guess. And it's you know, we don't have our PhD, so we really don't understand these child predators, right? But it would just take a guess that there might be a reason why he doesn't have a relationship with his children, and we can take a guess as to why he became a godfather. You know, they are so manipulative, so calculating. We often see those who marry into families. They will groom and date and love bomb women to get access to their children. And this is something that they plan and scheme for years to have access to their prey. I have no doubt in my mind, just my opinion, that this is exactly what he did to become a godfather. He groomed, he love bombed their family. He made it to the point that they would trust him so much that he would be their godfather. And he did it. He did all of that with one goal in mind, to have access to his prey. And he was successful. And yet, the state, the DOC, right? The DA, the prosecutor, the judges, they don't see any of that. They give him 3 years. They make him only have to register for 10. They consider him to be a low risk to reoffend. Can you open your bloody eyes? I get that we don't have PhDs, so we can't understand it. So, you know, Mandoo, you don't understand how the system works. Mandoo, you don't know how the criminal. It was just a one-time thing. He'll never reoffend. He's a low risk. Or what he's saying, she completely made it up. She wanted to stay at her boyfriend's house. And it's just so disturbing that the DAs and the judge, they're so lazy, they're so pathetic that they won't prosecute a case like this to the fullest. There's not much information on it. Thank you, Holly, for pulling up. There's this one news article because she's a child. And this is written March 25th, 2020, right? But I want to point out that he dragged this through the courts. He was not sentenced until October 18th, 2023. This parole hearing took place February 13th, 2025. It would have been, what, a year and a few months from getting sentenced to having this parole hearing. That's not even enough time to breathe. Police said they have concluded an intensive investigation into an SA complaint filed several months ago, resulting in an arrest. Held in $150,000 bond. Police said on department's Facebook page that the months-long investigation ended Friday, and this would have been a months-long investigation, about 11 a.m. when police arrested Torres. Police said the suspect was known to the victim and there was an ongoing threat to the general public during the investigation, nor as a result of that. The investigation was, that's it. And good job on the police, right? Good job on the survivors standing up and fighting back. But we know monsters exist. We see it with our own eyes. And we have to remember that DAs, they know monsters exist better than all of us. Judges, they know monsters exist better than all of us. So how come we see this and we are so disgusted that any judge, any DA would accept a plea deal that would allow him to only register for 10 years, that would accept a plea deal that gives him 7 years off his already abysmal sentence? No one with common sense would agree to something like this. But those put in charge of us, they do it every day. They do it over and over and over and over again. It makes no sense. And with that, I'll let you go.
I feel as though he had no remorse behind his actions. He didn't care if I was his goddaughter. He viewed me as a piece of prepubescent meat to use and exploit to his own satisfaction. My main fear is that he could possibly reoffend and hurt another child or even another member of his family. I wish I could say that the pain I felt ended every time he was done raping me, but I have suffered emotionally and physically for the past several years. I have difficulty maintaining proper relationships with other people, including my family. I can't hold a healthy image of myself, and I honestly can't trust people at all. Though I am sure that Mr. Torres is claiming to be a changed man, I have serious doubts that he has or ever will.